Let me tell you a little bit about the story. So, the Ark was a project, started right around the year 2008, and its goal was to create an artificial floating city that could support a population of about 5,000, and it was kind of a prototype for like a perfect green future, where you have like 100% recycled, green sources of energy, no carbon, all of that stuff. It was going to be like a beacon of hope. Because obviously it's a problem. I mean, everybody kind of, I assume you buy into global warming. Good man. So it's always a problem, and that was the goal. And the thing is, they succeeded. This prototype was actually successful. And just when things were going to good, and we were going to actually, take that technology and apply it to the world, and maybe save the world. Basically, Al Gore's worst nightmare happened, and the inconvenient truth, came to pass. And pretty much overnight, the sea level rose all over the world. There were actually two big deluges in our backstory, and the biggest mistake the founders of the Ark ever made at that moment was opening their doors and letting the refugees come, because they were good guys. This was built to save the world, and so they were going to save the world. We basically then cut 30 years later. A whole generation has grown up now on the Ark, and it's at its limit. What's supposed to be 5,000 people is like 50,000. There's no resources. All the cool prototype technology is breaking down, and there's nowhere to go. They've completely lost touch with the outside world. Some people think it's gone. Some people think it's a conspiracy, and there's still people out there. And at the beginning of the game, the whole Ark is on the brink, hence the title, the brink of a full-out civil war. And so, the first thing you do is you decide, well, which side am I going to be on? Am I going to be on, the side of security, which is kind of the man, basically, fighting to keep the place going. It's very clear to them that, they got, sure, maybe we have to step on some toes, but we got to keep this place going. We're completely justified in what we're doing because we have this big picture in mind, even if people don't always see it. Or you play on the resistance side, which is, all about, supporting the people who are living in, like the shantytown slums, stacked up a mile high, crammed in, and just, fighting for basic human decency. Because it's so bad for them. And they're completely justified, too. Both sides, there are no villains in this game. Both sides have a really strong point of view. So you pick one side or the other, you go through a full campaign, it has a beginning, middle, and end, really interesting story, and then you play the other storyline. And you see that same basic series of missions, but from a completely different point of view. And so that's really a big part of what the story of the game is all about. Is like kind of showing people how there's no simple answers, and there's always two sides to everything, and you can't really solve a problem unless you really literally walk a mile in the other guy's shoes. That's kind of like the big theme of the game. So that's our story, and you're going to come in, you're going to play through that. Now, let's assume you don't like multiplayer, and so you're just playing along. There's going to come a time in the game when we've been watching you. Our game has actually been watching how well you're doing, and we can see that you're getting better and better. You're mastering the systems. You know how to make smart use of the wheel and choose objectives, and you're leveling up. Getting a lot of new abilities. You're becoming more powerful, and we'll actually stop the game and we'll talk to you. Not a character in the game talking to your character. We will talk to you, and literally say, "Hey, you know what? We think you're doing okay. We think you're ready. Why don't you try your next mission online? You don't have to. You can play it offline. It'll still be great. You and your team will go in and do whatever you have to do. But you can try it online, and the enemy will be other humans. Give it a try. You know what? We'll bribe you. We'll give you twice as much experience. Because it's all about experience points and leveling up because we have this big RPG thing. And I think a lot of players will, I don't play online, but I'll give it a try. Why not? And I think what they'll find is, wow, this actually works really well. Since I know my way around and I feel a little bit confident, I don't just immediately just tune out. So that'll be a really big moment if we pull it off. And I think it's one of the core elements of the game that can really be new and exciting. It can open up these doors because multiplayer's fun, and too many players just never experience it. I was the same. Before I came to work for Splash Damage, I love Call of Duty, I love Halo, I love playing these games. I'll play all the way through the single-player story, and then I just walk away because I've had bad experiences. And I'm just missing so much. So hopefully this game will actually succeed at that. I've talked for a lot. You probably have other questions. I'll let you go.
I think you covered all the bases.
Okay. Cool.
So it's all good. Thanks a lot for your time.
Yeah, it's great talking to you.
Seems like a great game.
Yep. Did I say when? 2010, spring, all three platforms? Did I mention that? I'm supposed to mention that.
Yeah, you are, but you did.
All right. Well, don't forget.
All right. Thanks again.
Cool. It's nice talking to you.